Welcome back to Two Gals and a Glass Half Full. So, most of us want to improve our health. We want to be healthier, but that topic can seem so big and it's so overwhelming. And where in the world do we start? So, today we got a huge tip for you that will make it so much more simple, and it's super easy to do. So, tag along with us and learn how you can improve your health with this one simple tip. But before we get started, Dr. Jess, what's in your glass today?
So this morning I'm working on my cup of coffee still. So didn't sleep too well last night. Got a kiddo at home that's not feeling the best. So I was up a little bit last night. So this coffee is helping in addition to some movement that I did this morning to wake myself up. So Dr. Bobbie, what's in your glass?
I'm having a little bit of coffee with cream. So it's in a Starbucks cup, but it is not Starbucks coffee. This is home coffee.
Yeah, I
So,
like it. And as Dr. Bobbie prefaced, today we have a pretty simple tip that you can implement in order to help your health. And we try not to do these things that are like going to be so specific that only like one very small niche population will benefit. We try and do more global things that people can implement on their own from home, and there's not going to be anything like schmancy or expensive. So time blocking. And I know this seems like, what? Get organized and that helps my health? Uh, the real answer is it does. It definitely does. So, Dr. Bobbie, when it comes to time blocking, what's our big picture and how that helps improve your health?
so if we start with maybe what is time blocking, right? Time blocking, we are going to take, so let's say I have 10 tasks today, and I'm going to look at my schedule and I'm going to block, maybe it's hours, 20 minutes, whatever that task is needed. But I'm going to look and I'm going to block out that time. And during that time, I'm going to do that specific activity. So, a great example is I would say answering emails at work. If you take out 30 minutes on your calendar, you physically will have a calendar. It could be on your phone, it could be on a piece of paper, however you like to do it. But you're going to go through your day and you're going to block what you're going to do at those points. And so during that 30 minutes, that's when you're going to answer emails. And you're just going to go and you're going to answer. Maybe you put your phone on silent. Maybe you put everything aside so that way you don't have the distractions that come in. Set an alarm, 30 minutes, and you get going. And you're just going to answer emails through that time. What that does is it increases your productivity because how many times are you doing something and then your phone rings and you answer that? Oh, I got to answer that email. Oh, I got to call them. Oh, I got to do this. And all of a sudden, you're not getting anything done in that 30 minutes. So that's kind of what time blocking is. And then if we look at how can it improve our health, oh my goodness, it can make us so much more productive, which allows us to then make sure we time blocked inside that we have this exercise. We are going to eat this lunch or we can meal prep. It just allows us to actually do what we want to do. Um,
Absolutely.
so Dr. Right. So Dr. Jess, kind of tell me, like for you, time blocking, how does it improve your health?
So I like saying that I'm going to schedule myself into my day. That's for me,
Hmm.
that's time blocking, right? So I'm going to have certain times of day that I schedule that this is when I'm going to run. This is when I'm going to exercise. This is when I'm going to meal prep. This is when I'm going to get to bed. This is what time I'm going to wake up. All of it is I look ahead at what I want to get out of my week, whether that's, work related stuff, health related stuff, parenting related stuff, all of the different things that you have to balance. And the whole premise behind time blocking is like, it's just like budgeting. You have to be realistic with
Hmm.
time blocking. So let's say I time block 30 minutes for my run, right? Well, really, I'm going to run for 30 minutes, but I am going to have a warm up, a cool down, and a stretch afterwards. And this is where I've gotten myself in trouble before, where I'm like, okay, as long as I get up at this time and I start running at this time, and then I'm done, I'll still have time to get ready and get to work on time. But then I realized, well, I'm never cooling down and stretching, and then now I'm getting injuries because I'm only running, I'm not stretching. I didn't time block enough time though, so I just needed to bump that a little bit earlier to leave. If I left 15 minutes earlier, that would have made all the difference because now I have time to stretch and cool down after my run. And now that Achilles tendonitis, that trochanteric bursitis, all of these things that come up are now prevented because I'm actually taking care of myself completely. And so it's not like I time blocked once and like nailed it on the first try. I'm like the epitome of living in a glass house and throwing stones. Like I like bumble my way through everything. I make all the mistakes, and learn from those and say,
Mhm.
okay, now why could this be happening, and what could I better do to have a more realistic time frame on this? And so that's, again, I've been doing this now for 20 years, and you just kind of learn along the way how to be more realistic with yourself. Uh,
It
yeah,
reminds me of our conversation last week about budgeting and how it's not, you don't learn it in 1 month, you don't
no,
learn it in one time. It's going to take months, years, and it's going to change over the years. The amount of time you need now to run is different before than it was before kids.
mhm,
Because now you have to include, if you're taking the kid with you, maybe the diaper needs changed. Maybe they need to go to the bathroom. They want another snack. And that's all kind of learning as you go and learning how to include that time in your time block so you're not running behind or sometimes we leave the most important things out because of something else. So, like, really learning how to time block is so important and how much time is actually needed.
right. And consider it like this kind of, it's always open for modification, more or
Mm-hmm.
less. And if we don't time block our days, then one, obviously our productivity is less because we're all over the place. It's like, oh, I'm supposed to be done at 5 so I can get to that class at the gym at 5:15. You gave yourself no wiggle room. There's no room for error. So then you're constantly missing the class, or, losing daylight for your run or whatever it might be. And it's like, unless you set that time. So for me, I like setting that time on like Friday night, Saturday morning is usually where I kind of start my time blocking for the week going forward because I use my weekend to help me prep for my week. And then at the end of the week when I'm tired and it's like, okay, like what went well, what didn't go well, what was realistic, what wasn't realistic, then I can then learn from that. And it's not like I'm spending hours doing this. I'm just simply going like, last week I really got behind on meal prep. And why was that again? And then I'll remember, oh, it's because I had forgotten like 5 different things, had to leave to go out to the store again because I didn't make a full grocery list. I was like, oh, I'll be fine. All the common mistakes, right? And then now
Mm-hmm.
all of a sudden it took me so much longer to get that done. And so it's like write the list down. Just I
Mm-hmm.
mean, and that's pretty basic, but like I still make that darn mistake because it's Friday, I'm leaving work, I just want to pop into Trader Joe's quickly and get what I need. And I'm like, oh yeah, like simple list. And then I forget 3 things. Um,
Yeah. Well, and I think a common mistake we all tend to do is we don't, when we're trying, we see this list of 10 things and we want to try to get all these 10 things in. I think commonly we underestimate the amount of time that it takes to do a task. So I think, especially when you're starting out, overestimate. If
yes.
you think it's going to take 30 minutes, schedule 45
Yep.
because you feel so much less stress, which is the whole point of time blocking. If you finish early and you're like, oh, I got 5 minutes still before I'm supposed to do this, like it gives you time to breathe, to go to the bathroom, especially when you're learning. So, my one tip for you is when you're starting out, overestimate the amount of time, add on additional time on how long you think it will be. Because you'll feel so much better and you also feel better about yourself. You'll feel more productive. You'll feel more successful getting those little wins, being like, oh, I finished early.
Right. And it's going to be like just taking that time to just get yourself a little bit organized. It really, like, I mean, it takes me 5 minutes right now to like get myself organized, but it's taken time to do that.
Mhm.
And that's one of the things I talk with my husband about it's either Friday night or Saturday morning. Hey, what do you want to get done this weekend? What are your big ticket items? What do I want to get done this weekend? What are my big ticket items? And what do you need help with? What do I need help with? Okay, so let's say today the goal is we definitely want this and this done by today. That way tomorrow we can do X, Y, and Z. And so that's just a version of time blocking. And communicating that with the people around you can be helpful as well, because you're not living on this little planet where it's only you that matters. It's you do matter, and you have to schedule yourself in, and it's making sure that you get the help that you need so that you can actually get it done. Because if I do all of the grocery shopping, all of the meal prep, all of the meal planning, it's like that's kind of a lot, really. So oftentimes I'll do one store, he'll do another store because obviously we can't get everything at one store.
Yeah.
And then, this is the meals that we like, that we agree upon, that are balanced meals, all of that, because your health is going to feel better if you're eating a whole foods diet. And if you make stuff in advance and you have a bunch of different things going, in a matter of 3 hours on the weekend, that's all I cook. I don't cook during the week. I have everything either chopped and prepped for like a quick throw together salad or something that's already cooked. I'm going to cook it on the weekend. So it's a simple reheat. And I think through my ingredients of eating the rainbow. And so as I'm putting my meals together, all the meals include the rainbow, and then we're good to go. So now during the week, when I'm trying to think about my health and doing healthy things, I have quick grab and go. Lunches are ready, dinners are ready, and then we do smoothies for breakfast, which, those are pretty easy to do day of. But again,
Mhm.
if I didn't time block that, even coming down to the shopping, and then, like if I didn't set aside, this is the time I do this. But we would get to Sunday and there's no chance that we would be ready for the week. And then we're going to be grabbing quick stuff on the way home, which is going to mean, like, again, it's not going to necessarily be eating the rainbow, and it's not going to be balanced, and glucose regulation is not going to be the best. And then you don't feel your best. So,
Mhm.
food and hydration, in addition to exercise and mental health and sleep, are all super important components of improving your health.
So I have two questions for you, Dr. Jess. The
Uh-huh.
first is, so we talk about time blocking and how when we time block, it allows us to fully focus on that one thing we're doing.
Yep.
How does this help us not worry about the other things?
Well, because you've already scheduled it, right? So you have time to do those things. So it decreases anxiety because it's like I mean, I like right now my to-do list is 1,000,000 pages long, right? I've got so many things on there, and they all have earmarks for when I'm going to work on them. So I know, like, I've got that email. I was like, yep, I've already have planned. I know I need to respond to X, Y, and Z. That's going to be later this afternoon, right? Because I've already kind of sectioned all of that out. And so it just keeps you focused on what you're doing, which helps you finish it completely. You don't get it 80% there and then get distracted, because then you want to start something else. It's like having all these tabs open and then all your notifications are on, and it's like, there's no chance. And it just keeps you calm. And because you scheduled in, you have to stick to that. So if you scheduled yourself in, meaning you scheduled a run, you scheduled a workout, you scheduled yoga, stretching, you don't cancel on yourself, right? You wouldn't bail on somebody else, so don't bail on yourself. So when I look at my calendar and I have something in there, it's like, nope, I'm not available. They're like, really?
Mhm.
Like, nope, I'm booked.
Sorry.
Yep. Because like I'm booked at that time.
And so my other question, and I know my answer to this, and I think everyone's answer might be a tiny bit different, which is why I'm asking you.
Mhm.
So we talk about time blocking. Is every minute of every day of your life time blocked and
No.
scheduled? Nah. And I think that can be misconception.
Yep.
As when we're talking about time blocking, there's no freedom. And there absolutely is freedom.
Mhm. Yeah.
It is, but again, in a way, you've time blocked that, right? In a way, you've said Sunday, we're not doing any work.
Right.
And so no, I haven't gone through and I haven't labeled I'm doing laundry at this hour on Sunday and this and this. But I feel like, especially during the week, I feel like it's more important during the week. And when I talk about during the week, if you work on weekends, then we're talking about on the weekends. Like those days you're working, those days you're doing things, those are the days where time blocking is more helpful. And then maybe it's like you have stuff time blocked until dinner's at 7, and then from 7 to 10, and then you're, say, bedtime's 10. And then from 7 to 10, you kind of do whatever you want to do, whatever you need to do, whatever your family needs. So it's not like every minute of your day is scheduled for something.
Yeah. I
And I
think
think that's a misconception. Like when people first kind of think about it, is that they feel like they have to schedule out literally everything down to when they're going to the bathroom, as
right.
an example. It's exaggeration, but an example. And that's not it.
No. The way I like to think about it is what are our must-haves? Like, what do I actually have to get done either in this day, in this week, in this weekend, whatever it is? Like, what are my must-haves? And when am I realistically going to do that? And I put those in. Everything else that's a want will kind of go into where the gaps are. If it's just a want and it doesn't happen, tomorrow's a new day, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's not a need. I time blocked the needs because they have to get done. Like I have to have healthy food to feed my family and myself. I have to move my body. That is a need. That's not a want. Honest answer when it comes to value system. Like if you want to prevent illness and keep a healthy body and have quality life, you just have to stay moving in some way that you enjoy. And so if you don't put it in, it's so easy to not do it. It
Mm-hmm.
happens to me on a regular basis. I get so busy with stuff and then all of a sudden I'm like, dang it, like I really had these intentions, but because I didn't really time block it in, and I thought, oh, by the end of the day, I'll just get that in. It's not happening. By the end of the day, you got kid pickup,
No.
you got dinner, you got homework, you've got bath time, it's like, yeah, right. Like, what was I thinking? Like
Yeah.
that doesn't work. I've proven that time and again. Um, so it's like, and that's the thing, give yourself grace. But like, if it doesn't have to happen, then that's a want, not a need. And those are hard. Those are hard to really discern between the two. It's a constant journey I'm on. Understanding the difference. Yeah.
Yes,
Um,
absolutely.
so Dr. Bobbie, if somebody wants to get started today on time blocking,
Mhm.
like I've never done this before, how do I even do the first step? Like, what would you suggest?
So, first thing you need to do is sit down and write what you need to get done today or this week. To be honest, if you're just starting, look at today.
Yeah,
What do
one
I
day.
need to do today? And what has to be done? What is that need? What is that deadline? What has to be done today? Put anything else aside. And then look at your schedule and kind of next to the task. So let's say I'm going to use this example. It comes to the top of my head, laundry. I have to get laundry done today because I my daughter doesn't have clothes for tomorrow or something doesn't have clothes for tomorrow. Have to do laundry today. Laundry, realistically, I'm going to write next to it how long that takes. Now, laundry is a little different because you can put it in, go do something, put it in, go do something. So maybe that's not the best of example. Let's do meal prep because I think that's better. I need to cook dinner tonight. And so how long is it realistically going to take me to cook dinner tonight? Put that number next to that word or to that item that you have to do. And you're going to do that for all the tasks. And then you're going to start kind of filling in that day. Take your phone on the calendar, take a piece of paper, however you like to do it, write out your time, 6, 6:37, kind of go down through there and start filling in those blocks. All of a sudden you're going to see, remember when let's go back, remember when you're making those times to add a little extra time, especially if this is your first time. If you think it's going to have an hour for dinner, plan an hour and a half because you never know what's going to happen. Um, Start filling that day. You're going to see that day fill up pretty quickly. And that's where you have to start being realistic and prioritize. Yes, I have to cook dinner tonight. I guess laundry can wait till tomorrow. Like start prioritizing what it needs to be and have that day filled out and make sure you do have time to do different things in there. So what I mean by that is don't have every minute of the day filled. You got to need a little bit of gap in there to for life to happen. So that very first day, of all the items you need, what is a want, what is a need, how much time you think it's going to take to finish that item and add a little bit extra, fill it into your day, make sure there's gaps, make sure there's time, downtime, and start with that and just kind of see how your day goes. We're not going to be perfect. I think time blocking is like working out. It's like lifting a muscle. It's like budgeting. It's discipline, and it's going to be very hard. And you're going to find, I think an email is such a great example. If you sit down and do the emails, you're going to find how many times during that time you're doing those emails, you want to reach for your phone. You want to reach for the TV. You want to answer this. You want to do that. Oh, well, I'll go do the laundry. Oh, I'll put this, especially if you work from home, it's real easy to get distracted like that. It's a muscle that you're going to have to work and work to kind of really teach yourself, no, this 30 minutes is for this specific activity. And I'm only going to do that because when I'm done with that 30 minutes, I'm done with that task. And if you're anything like me, there is nothing better than your task list crossing out. That item is done, whether you cross it out, whether you check it off. Because if you're like me, you also add the stuff you already did, because the more things you cross off, the more you feel productive.
Absolutely. Yeah. So step one is start with needs versus wants today, just one day, and just kind of get used to looking at what is a need. And this is where how time blocking can improve health, is because health is a need. And so what are you currently not doing right now that needs to put onto the need list? And what are you currently doing that stays on the need list? And so keep that list healthy and then really try and discern what a want might be. And so pull some of those wants out of the need list and add those in if time allows. And so it just is a big way of prioritizing you, your health, your job, your roles in life, everything else, and you will be better at all of it if you don't get distracted with wants versus needs. I mean, it happens. Like I said, it happens daily to me. Like this is not perfect science,
Yes.
but it is a way of really trying to get yourself a little bit more well-rounded with balancing all of the different aspects that happens in a day. And then you'll start to realize when you look ahead at a week, you will prove to yourself that it's possible. Like you will say, like in my head, my brain almost looks at my day as like, because I'm in patient care, so it's always blocks, right? Like each patient has a
Mm-hmm.
block. So in my head, my day has all of these blocks, but I've been looking at a patient schedule now for so long. I can see it. So like I can see later today what I'm going to have time to get done. I can see tomorrow morning how I'm going to start that day and then how that day is going to progress. I mean, commute time, all of that goes into it. And commute time isn't just the time you're in the car. It's the time that you are getting your bags, getting the water bottles, getting all of that. Hey, kiddo, get your shoes on. Like that is commute time. So you don't want to be flying in hot. You got to add those couple of minutes for the prep to even get yourself out the door to then get buckled into the car to then start that commute, which might be X number of minutes, right? So all of
Well,
that, you just get better at it.
and my favorite is, when my mom used to watch my daughter, I would be like, she'd be like, okay, what time are you gonna be home? And I would say, well, my last patient ends at 6. Well, she'd expect me home at 6:10. And it's like, wait a second.
No,
Patient ends at 6. They may walk out at 6:05, 6:10. Now I gotta clean up the whole thing, my whole clinic. And then I got the drive home. Like, I might not be home till 6:30. Oh, but you said you were done at 6 o'clock. Well, yeah,
yeah,
but there's all this other
transition.
stuff. And if you don't include all this other stuff,
Mhm.
you're going to be behind, and then you're going to feel stressed. Like, I'm not able to get this done. So sometimes you got to tell people, oh, I'm done at 6:30 when you're
Right.
really done at 6, to include that time in.
Right, exactly. Yeah. And you just get better. I mean, I know like if I'm done with patients at 5, I've got to do pickup by 6. It's a very short commute. And that's my only time to talk to the staff at the end of the day. So I've got to check in with therapists. I've got to check in with front desk. That's my time I block to answer my emails because I don't like doing that once I get home. I
Hmm.
button up all my notes. So I have a very tight 35-minute window to answer emails, but I do that at lunch too. So I like to kind of do a quick check-in for 5 minutes, answer what I can, because that's 5 minutes saves me 5 minutes at the end of the day, right? And
Hmm.
then from there, I do my quick check-ins. Are we okay? We're good. What do I need to know? What's going to prep us to have a better day tomorrow? And like I said, sign notes. And then now when I go home, that 35 minutes saved me 2 hours later because I was
Yeah.
focused. I didn't have
Hmm.
distractions. Everybody knows this is my time. Like I will come find you. Like we will talk. But not right now because now I'm here. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
And so it's like boom, 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 and it is like crazy productive. Um, and that's what time blocking does to me, which then when I'm home and we're running around, we're gonna play, we're gonna do this, we're gonna do that, we're gonna work out in the backyard because I'm not like, oh, hey guys, I still have all of this I need to do, you know?
You're
Um,
right. Yeah.
like, yeah, it's just you gotta like once you commit to it, like I'm busy right now, in 5 minutes I won't be busy. What you can get done in 5 minutes when you're focused is incredible. You know?
Yes.
So
Yeah, absolutely. Uh, it, it will change. This
yeah,
one little tip, it will change. It will take time, it will take practice, but it will be such a good change for you.
absolutely.
It
All
provides so
right.
much freedom.
Oh, exactly. It changes it really does change everything. So and you get it in, you fit it in. Um,
Mhm.
so hopefully this is something that you found helpful and that you can realize like, wow, like I can put my health first and balance everything else. Like it is possible. I don't have the answer for you. You're the only one that has that answer. And it just is going to come with practice. Like everything, it's a muscle that needs to be worked. You don't do it once and all of a sudden you're now 100% proficient. Uh, this is something that you start small and then you just get a little bit better, a little bit better, a little bit better. And over the course of a month, 2 months, 3 months, it becomes more on how you think, right? So, but that's the realistic answer is that takes months to actually start to get it where you're like grooving with it. So share this episode with somebody if it feels like it's helpful and you're like, you know what, so and so is kind of telling me about they were struggling where they could find time to get X, Y, or Z in. Like send them this episode. Hopefully they don't find it to be judgmental, but it's really truly meant to be a helpful thing. And always like subscribe, comment below if you have any questions, or if you're like, hey, like I had this specific question, could you do an episode about it? I mean, why not, right? So our whole point here is to kind of help everybody grow and realize that one small change really can make a huge difference. So always remember that one small change. It doesn't need to be more than that at once. All right, everybody, we'll see you next week.